Okay, you're gonna have to deal with the harsh lighting situation again because, well, it's the end of the day. I said I wasn't gonna start a project at 1 o'clock in the afternoon again, and well, it's 3:30. And the sun is dipping low, and I want to get this done because apparently I have some spare time again today. And this is actually the same day as the other video, so I do actually change my pants, but it is rare. So here's the new adapter that I printed for the fire extinguisher side, and this is just a big ass hose clamp, which is what they use to hold them on. I hate to say from the factory, but that's a big ass hose clamp is generally what they use to hold fire extinguishers onto things. It's, you know, it's just is kind of the way it is. So I'm gonna actually not put this on super tight because I may have to move it and adjust it a little bit. So that's just gonna kind of be snug on there a little bit. I did go out and purchase a new stainless clamp, and the other clamp I had, I think, was just like some shit I got. Well, I got this from Home Depot too, but I don't know where I got the other shit from. Here's the mount. I painted it. Actually, I painted it 3 times, and I'm still not super duper crazy about the way it turned out. I don't care about the layer lines, but what I care about was like the finish. So I painted it with like a hammer tone, and it was too gray, and then I painted it with flat black, and it wasn't flat enough, and then I painted it with this stuff. This is a Rust-Oleum truck bed liner in a can. So it came out okay. It almost matches the roll cage that I'm going to mount it to, and it's good enough. So let's go over to the truck and put the hardware and everything together. Actually, I could do that here. So I went to Depot, because Depot's like 5 minutes from my house. So pretty much everything I get from Depot. Oops. I am missing 2 bolts. Fan-fucking-tastic. At least I got 4 of them. I did go in and fix the. Print. Jobs work better when you have the tools in your hands. I did go in and fix the print, so the socket now fits inside the hole. So that's a good thing. And it'll fit in both holes. I don't think the washers will fit though. That was a little bit of an oversight on my part. It doesn't really need washers. Let's see. Huh. Well, there we go. We won. I made the holes a little tiny bit bigger too, compared to the original test print. The original test print. Oh yeah, that fits really nice. Shocking. The other thing is I want to make sure I mount it this way. Okay, let's go over here. So the straps just thread in here like this. The straps just thread in. I could put a screw in there if I wanted to hold them in place. I'm honest with you, I don't really want to do that. Because quite frankly, you never know when you might need a strap. Always be prepared, kids. So I'm gonna try to loosely put this on. What's gonna happen, I have the most odd feeling, what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna come to an abrupt stop one day and this thing's gonna come through the back window of my truck. You know, I know I'm just full of fucking cheer all the time, but quite frankly, that looks like what that's gonna happen. I could live with that, I think. And believe it or not, it's just friction holding that on there. Okay, I think I can live with that. Maybe a little bit lower. Let's see if I can get it down a little bit. Should get it measured. I might actually measure it. Just I like that a lot, actually. I think that's about right. Maybe a little bit lower, so when it falls off, it doesn't completely smash into something. Nah, I think we're gonna leave it right there. I think that's sold right there. Okay, so now for the fun part here, it's gonna be getting this stuff together, lined. I don't know if I want that much screw sticking out. One time in my life, I want to do a job where I don't lose a fucking screw. Actually, that's the oddball. Okay, so I actually had the right screws. Yeah. There's my once in my life. Oops, and that's going to go in there. Like I said, I really wanted to use Allen heads for this, but Depot didn't carry them, or didn't have what I want, so I didn't get them. I do have a high lift jack for this, and I am going to build a mount for it, but that is not going to be something that gets left on the truck. The mount's going to be left on the truck, but the high lift jack is not. I think somebody has I have a greater chance of somebody stealing a high lift jack than I do somebody stealing a fire extinguisher. Let's face facts. That is something that somebody might want to steal. And not for nothing, I wouldn't blame them. High lift jacks, especially, I have a decent one. That's something that somebody would steal for sure. Now the option is to put a lock on it, but then locks get shitted up. Fire extinguisher, like I said, if somebody wants to steal my fire extinguisher, I hope to burn to death in the fire it was intended to put out. I'm getting old, kids, and grumpy. I said most likely what's going to happen here is I'm going to be going down the road one day and I'm going to hit the brakes really hard, and then this thing's going to fly off and come through the back window. I deserve that. You know, I have a stool right here so I can work on this. Not work blind, which is looks like still kind of what I'm doing. I probably should have incorporated the nuts into the mount, but sometimes it's just not worth doing that stuff. Well, at least it hit the ground. Yes, I know I could put the nut in the socket, but I just want to get it started first, and then I'll do that. That one started. That one started. That one started. That one started. Now. There's the nut that I was looking for. The day's not going to be complete until I scratch my new truck, by the way. This is another one of those, why am I not using power tools? Well, I'm not using power tools because I don't trust my power tools not to break apart. I don't think it will. But quite frankly, you never know. Archimedes was a smart motherfucker, so. It's so funny. I'm getting old, and one of the things that I was like, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I got really worried about having a quality fire extinguisher on my truck. I think it's an old dude thing. That and go to car shows. Anytime you go to a car show, that one of the like rules is you absolutely have to have a fire extinguisher behind the right front tire of your car or left front tire of your car. I'm torquing this up with head bolts. Again, too, a joke about this ratchet. This I use this ratchet is like a torque wrench, believe it or not. You can break stuff with it. You can over torque things, but the ratchet usually tells you. It has like a little give to it, so you kind of know, hey, back off a little bit. You're about ready to cause a problem. Oh, I may end up printing that. Oh, that was my ratchet. 20 hours to print this thing. I really don't want to. I don't want to break it putting it together. But then again, if I did break it putting it together, that means it was shit to begin with. So fuck it. All right. Now I need to change the socket again. It didn't even occur to me that I could clock this thing a little bit too, until just now. I can clock the whole thing. It's actually cocked a tiny bit this way, which is good, I think. Now, I like that. Son of a bitch. Now, instead of being born with a third leg, I wish I'd been born with a third arm. It would have been much more useful. The ladies don't necessarily like my third leg. I'm gonna move this around a little bit. I kind of want this to kind of be straight. It didn't crack. This is another one. I've broken things with hose clamps, believe it or not. We're gonna tighten that screw up too. Huh. My door lock lost connection. Yeah, there, somebody just came in. Now, I do have a contingency plan if this thing starts to rattle, which it might, like that. And that contingency plan is going to be to put some double-sided tape on this mount here, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll be right back. I know double-sided tape seems a little, for the sake of argument, ghetto-ish, but I'm using the theory of if I'm going after this fire extinguisher, then we've got more problems than a little piece of double-sided tape on a fire extinguisher mount. The other thing I thought about doing was putting a little piece of double-sided tape on the fire extinguisher itself. I know that sounds nuts, but I think it's kosher enough. I'm not using good tape either, so I've had decent luck with this stuff, believe it or not. It's not the good automotive shit, but it's not junk either. We'll cut that off in a second. Yeah, I'm curious to see if it'll hit the window. We'll find out, because I can guarantee you that back window is probably $1,000. If I can even get one. I'll be driving around with a piece of plywood in the back window for months. Alright. Memento of Trutho. And the nice thing is you can still see the gauge, which was kind of important to me. You could just walk past it every once in a while and look at the gauge. All right. I don't hate it. I wish I'd made the Velcro a little bit longer, but we're kind of committed to that length because I cut the shit. It's nice actually having it glued on so I can really tighten the Velcro up. I'm sure some dickhead will bust my balls about it, but you know what? When you need a fire extinguisher, you need a fucking fire extinguisher. Okay, that's it. Fire extinguisher's in. Let's see here. Yeah, fuck it. I mean, it's an old fire extinguisher. I don't really give a shit if it gets stolen. I mean, I do, but you know, I said my preference would be that somebody doesn't rip it off and then smash my window with it. But and then, like I said, there's room here in between the hose and the back of the window. But I might actually, yeah, we're gonna do that. Might tie that in a little bit more. I like that a little better. There's always a zip tie that could be involved with that. Even though that doesn't look too bad. Old man got his fire extinguisher.